in the elevator, say, and Stephen and John happen to be talking about some political ongoing in this building, I couldn't engage in that conversation? I would not be running?
No, we're talking about campaigning.
No, we're talking, you could engage in the conversation, they could not engage you in the conversation.
He could not engage them either.
So
if someone is speaking,
right.
if someone's talking, if I am talking to my best friend about something, and somebody decides to make a comment, you cannot stop that. If I decide to come up to you and talk to you about the election and you did not engage me, you cannot do that.
But that's what you just said in the first part of your phrase, is that you're going to speak to somebody else. That's engaging them.
This makes no sense, designated copies.
This is exactly the level of ambiguity for 3 years that has led to the kind of
what stops someone
arbitrary...
That's the only...
I'm sorry.
No, please, I
No,
need to be
if that's the case, then I don't understand that. Is that, let's just say, for instance, Steve and I are friends, God forbid, but just in case we are, okay?
No, John's right.
But if I'm standing with them in the elevator, I could say to you,
This whole thing is...
what's your thought on blah, 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 and engage you, and to get other people engaged, and wouldn't that be also against the rules then?
Yeah, if he's a candidate,
Or a supporter.
Or a supporter, and it wasn't a period of time when you were allowed to campaign and it wasn't part of the common areas where you are. Steve is correct. The way he's speaking is prohibited.
I think, what if we go back to his original proposal of the entire month?
No, this is not about time.
This is not about time.
This is not about time, John. This is about where.
Any time, any place.
This is about where.
This is not about at which point we become less than human beings by being unable to speak. That it's okay to do that certain times and not. This is about the general principle that I can speak with anybody about any subject in the common areas, but somehow I am not permitted to do that about something important called the election to the board of directors.
That's when we voted on. I'm sorry.
That's what the majority of the people.
But we have to give a little background to this. The
Yes.
reason why we did this was because there are lots of residents that didn't want to be accosted by electioneers.
Right.
And so we wanted to protect them from
That's exactly right.
being forced to talk to people when they didn't want to, or to be accosted by supporters of candidates who were just trying to they just want to get home.
Their
They don't
mail
want
in
to
the
be approached.
elevator and go
Exactly
home.
right.
And
We'll have to
that's
walk through it.
why,
That's
Similar
right.
to, we don't allow solicitors.
Right, that's right.
It's a privacy versus free speech issue, that's all.
And
That's
sometimes
exactly
we
what it
discuss
is.
at length in this room.
But what makes the distinction is that we are not talking about campaign activity where people are doing something physical, which is handing out literature, stopping people physically as they are proceeding.
Which is
We are
wrong.
talking about somebody being able to speak words out. And if you don't want to listen to it, then you have a perfect right not to listen to that person.
We had a long but
to-
actually, guys, we had a long conversation about this. And
Very long.
the
That's
ones
right.
that were not, the ones that were raised as problems were not the people having conversations. The ones that were raised and brought forward by people who were running, other people who were accosted were people that were handed brochures in the elevator bank.
Well, then
were
say
people
that.
that were accosted that you're voting for the wrong person, talk to me about it.
Yeah.
Those were the complaints. The complaints were not somebody standing there having a conversation.
But your rules don't say that.
No, but people
How
said
do
they
you-
don't want to even have to hear
Hear
someone
it.
talking unless they go to the designated area.
No, but you can't stop that though, Martha. Come on, I mean,
No,
honestly,
we're trying to.
if I'm having a conversation with someone,
Let's
else,
stop
they
that we can
can't.
physically go
I
over
don't
and
want to
listen
hear,
people.
I have a
We're
right
saying
to
we
say
have
that
the-
I don't want to hear what I don't want to hear.
Correct.
Somewhere, somebody has to tell me where in the body of law, for the first time in the history of this country, somebody is going to assert a right that they can stop somebody else from saying something because they don't want to hear it.
Steve, no,
Steve,
Steve,
you're
you're not
getting
being
no
way
such-
above, you're
Steve,
going
there is
way
no
above.
such
You're not
right.
being fair, Stephen.
You're going
Please.
way above and
You're
beyond.
not being fair the way you're conducting this conversation. We've had lengthy conversations about simply limiting where you can campaign.
Right.
That's what this
And you
conversation is all about.
participated very
okay?
peacefully, calmly,
Well, campaigning is
reasonably
definitely
and
shouldn't be
rationally.
allowed.
Okay, that's all
But
this
all
is
of
about,
a
Stephen.
sudden, that's
okay?
all this is about.
But you
It's
can have a
big
conversation with someone
So,
That's
and,
right.
you know,
in the elevator.
You
or
heard
in a
everybody.
we
We went around this table. Everybody expressed
Heard
their opinion
everybody's
about this
comments.
subject.
And you're not hearing my expression of this point of view as new
Yes,
at all.
No, absolutely
we're not hearing this
We
new.
know, we've heard
Then what
it.
is your issue? I'm telling you that this is
Fine.
objectionable.
Fine.
And I
We know
hope
that.
Then you're
that
one
I'm
of
trying-
nine. You're
And
one
I,
of nine.
and I hope to influence the directors here to recognize what an affront to the basic principles that this society operates
And let me
under.
suggest to you, Stephen, that it is those people that created this problem that are the root of why
Well,
we're having
obviously,
this
there's a
conversation.
few that created
okay?
this problem, there's no doubt
Except
about
for
it.
when they
But
started
these
3
rules
years
don't
ago.
address those,
What?
this
We
people.
tried.
wouldn't
How-
have
how-
These
hated
rules
this.
don't address the physical accosting.
Stephen,
Not at
we
all.
try-
These rules
No, Stephen,
address a
It
completely
says you
different
can't
subject.
campaign
No,
except
sorry.
in campaign
These
space.
rules are being proposed
Campaigning,
in
correct.
response to that
Exactly,
issue.
that's
That's
what
right.
it says.
Okay?
You can't
But that doesn't mean
campaign.
you
call
can't have
it
a conversation
response, but
somewhere about.
It's already being pointed out very clearly.
Things
The
about the
language
galaxy
that
with
you're
someone.
saying has nothing whatever to do with the action that you're trying to prohibit. You're
don't
telling
know.
me that there's this physical accosting that somehow has
Yes.
taken place that has made people highly uncomfortable.
Yes.
And yet now you're saying that you want to prohibit therefore all speaking in that regard.
No, we're not.
And that is
No,
ridiculous.
No,
never
we're saying
said
we're
that.
limiting it to certain geographical areas. That's what we're saying.
The subject of
Okay,
campaigning,
let
and it has
me
to
be more
a
clear.
certain
You're
time
looking
in a
to
certain
prohibit
area.
all speaking except in those designated areas. So outside, and
No.
those
No, we don't said all
designated times.
speaking.
No.
Yes,
campaign.
that's what the
Campaign
language
speaking.
says.
It's campaigning.
No, you're
But
overreacting.
you're
Stephen.
describing it as
Subject.
speaking.
No, you're going
Campaigning.
main activity.
Steve,
This is
You're
the
looking at
simple
specific,
language
not
that
like
you are
You
using.
look at a whole sentence and you rationalize the entire sentence. Here you're taking one word out of
Because you're
context.
using it.
Yes.
No.
That's what
We're
we use
using it
as
in
words to
several
communicate.
other
Speech
words.
used to campaign.
Yeah, can we
Not
just change the
speaking.
speech used to campaign then?
Speech used
make
to
it
campaign.
More
We have
clear and.
campaign.
if-
Yeah, it
Then,
says-
if
it
that's
says
campaign.
That's
It does
just
say
put
that.
to
That's
campaign.
exactly what I'm
I'd
saying.
like to call the vote, guys.
Campaign activity.
Thank you.
Okay.
Did we motion?
Well, I just want to make sure that this is campaigning because I
It's
personally.
all about
think that-
campaigning.
Do we have a
Okay.
motion?
The very first words
No.
are campaign
Yes,
activity.
yes.
They're
John
saying
and
that
John
they're
and
speaking
Lisa.
about
John
the
and
election as
Lisa.
campaigning.
Okay, all right.
clear
I'd
about
like
that.
Guys,
I'd like to call the vote, call the question.
We have 2 minutes? 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just take
Change
this vote and we
date.
can take a station break.
No,
Stephen, we heard it.
Anthony doesn't understand,
I
doesn't
call the
quite.
question.
She's saying that you can speak, he could be speaking to someone about it, and anyone can engage in a conversation, as long as she's not campaigning, handing out campaign literature, and putting down another.
We didn't say
That's not
people
what
can't
they're
speak to
They're saying
people.
speaking
They
is
can't-
campaign
they can't
activity.
camp-
It
No,
says
we're not, we're
campaign
saying
activity.
campaign subject is the whole, covers the
They're
whole
saying
thing.
speaking about the campaign is campaigning.
Yes,
Yes.
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 Doing no other thing than speaking about the campaign is campaigning.
Right.
And I consider
You
that
wanna
to
talk
be
to
an
your friend?
affront to what this society stands for.
Okay.
That's behind the
How do
whole
you feel?
lawsuit.
Well, I'm not sure, not to sound dumb, or anything, but I'm not sure I understand
like to
what you
bring
mean by
something else
campaigning.
All right, guys, you know what?
You
It's
can
a
go
fine
on
line.
for, you can go
Stop.
on for 3 months
Stop.
on
Yeah,
that.
I get it.
Martha, Anthony.
And they're not
I
clear.
call the
Steven.
question.
Okay, we gotta, I'm sorry, Hank's running out of tape. We gotta stop for a second. Go ahead.
This is perfect time to talk, you know what?
And also with the point about
Guys, we're
being,
okay, we're going.
this is all intertwined about the legalities of this is your home versus this is beyond your
Okay,
home
guys.
public.